Go now to dryerbuzz.com and follow at DryerBuzz on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. It's all about the buzz.
Good morning, Heartache. Oh my God, I have been waiting all night to say that. Not that I've been waiting and anticipating the heartache, but everybody take a deep breath. You might have a stretch on this one. Let me grab my juice here. Let me take a sip. And let's figure this thing out. Let's get ready to figure this thing out. I'm telling you, I think I want my vitamin water. What day is it? It's Sunday. It's football day. It's the return of football. It's hopefully, you know what? I don't know why the season doesn't line up like it's supposed to. I want it to be a good 75 degrees outside, and it already feels like it's maybe 90 something. I don't know what time it is. Let's see. It's almost noon. It's almost high noon. It's here on the East Coast. I'm recording this, and it sounds like I might have a little bit issue with my voice. Feels like my ear is stopped up. Let's see. Right at about 20 minutes after 11 here on the East Coast, as the AC kicks on. I am probably gonna have a few issues getting my thoughts together today. Today is the deadline. It's a deadline that I wanted to have it all together. Life get back to some normalcy. That's not a thing. I'm here to tell you that's not a thing. I tried yesterday because in book 2. This is book 2. I'm Yolanda at Dryer Buzz. It's called How to Get Out of Bed. It's my first thoughts of the morning. The very first conversation I try to have. I try not to scroll my social media, but I was looking for something in my memories because today, believe it or not, and gosh, okay, today, believe it or not, is there's something I said 10 years ago. There's something that happened 5 years ago, and there's something that happened literally 2 years ago that today is an all-important day, and let's just say hindsight. Can I just say hindsight? I want to say heartache, but then I don't want to live in that. I don't want to sit in that, and that's just who I am. I want to post a bunch of stuff in commemorative, but I want to, before I talk about what today became, I want to go back and talk about some hindsight, because it's in the hindsight that we get to see that we are part of such a larger scheme of things, right? That life is, if we recognize the reality, which is the podcast that we talked about yesterday. Y'all bear with me. This message is going to come forward, and apparently it's supposed to come through me, because it is these pieces of life, puzzle pieces of life are moving so fastly for me. Interesting enough, and you know what? This is why I say social media is important. This is why I say you have to curate this thing, because nowhere else would I have curated such memories enough to go back and savor what I have accomplished in life than on Facebook. Okay, and I know everybody has all kind of negative stuff to say. Let me sip this thing. Hold on. But if not for my Facebook memory, because I don't have the scrapbooks now, I got a bed over here for the journals. I've got stuff everywhere. Some people will call it chaos, but it's organized. It's orchestrated chaos. But if not for my social media, I wouldn't have the memory that I do have, and I wouldn't have lost the memory that I do have if we'd only had this in the cloud in the early days. But luckily we've literally had it for the past decade. Okay, something consistently that we can have in part in our life, and chronicle everything that we do. I could go back 10 years and see what I ate, what I said, what I did, who was around, who's not around, and so forth. But hindsight of it all, I'm trying to find the pen, because I know I took my pen and I put it in my purse, because I decided to take a journal with me yesterday. Let me grab a pen so I can write down. Oh, here's a pen way over here on the floor, which means I probably slept a little bit rough and kicked it off the bed. But I'll grab this pen, and sorry for the noise and so forth. But if you're on here, I don't even need to apologize. That's why I love hindsight. That's why I love those who not only follow, but those who lead me. I'm going to talk about that today. Not my followers, okay? I'm going to talk about my leaders. I'm going to talk about people who lead me, people who lift me. Oh, dang, wait, y'all. Let me grab the journal on this. I'm going to have to shift some stuff around. I need the journal right here in front of me today because the clarity is about to come through. Okay, I said heartache. But I don't want to live in heartache. So I'm gonna write hindsight. Yeah, there's heartache in my hindsight, right? Okay, but I want to talk about those who lead and lift, right? Because last night, one of the things I did before I went to bed, and you know how we get added to all these different groups and things like that. Somebody knowing I'm gonna speak my mind added me to this group of neighbors. Let me tell you something also in my memories is some years ago, maybe I don't know how many. One thing with what was going on with my mom, it kept me close to home, right? Close. I spent a couple of years like just in the neighborhood. Prior to that, you know, like everybody else, I had the long commute. I spent a lot of time outside the neighborhood. Now, mind you, I've always been civic minded and politically engaged, meaning that I'm not that person. I'm not going to just show up to vote. I want to make sure we got some good people on the ballot and get elected and all those kinds of things. I got a lot of experience in this stuff, right? And slow and behold, so we had this. Let me tell you about the heartache. I'm looking back over my Facebook memories, and there's a lot of heartache. And I remember the day the neighborhood and the history of the neighborhood was at war. And there was this great heartache that came out of it. It's like, wow. And the heartache was sometimes human beings can exceed the expectations and even the limits of ignorancy. There's some people who get to walk this planet each and every day and they're just so ignorant. Right. But then I realized I don't have to focus on that. We don't have to focus on that. That is something you're going to live long enough, you're going to experience that heartache. I want to talk about heartache. So beyond the heartache, knowing that the heartache, I didn't know the heartache was coming. I didn't know when it was coming. I didn't know if it was coming. I didn't know it was there. I know it's part of life. But when I look back over my Facebook memories, I'm so grateful this morning because I could sit here and have a sad day. I could do the post, the memory, the commemoration, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But before I got to that, I love Facebook memories because as long as you have been on Facebook, that's as far back as you can go. So I got up this morning upon waking and grabbing my phone as everybody else does. I could immediately scroll back, a year ago, 5 years ago, 7 years ago. It looked like mine is like it goes a year, 2 years, 5 years, 7 years. I love the 5 years and 7 years. 7 year because I was highly active. 7 year takes me back 2012. Let me tell you, 2012 was a boss year. It was a year I made some amazing investment into who I was and who I wanted to become. That was it. I'm like, okay, let's etch this in stone. This is the life that I want. Let me go and learn everything I need to learn, become everything I need to become, risk everything I need to risk, invest everything I need to invest, have the right people around me and get rid of everybody else, right? And say to the world, this is who I am and this is who I'm going to be. I don't know if that was me defining myself because if I look back at the hindsight, everything about me has been that. And I'm always that, right? So I kept scrolling and it goes back 10 years. And then I saw on the 10 years ago today, if you go by the date, and I don't too much like to go by the date. I like to go by the day. Cause I just get that kind of, cause me, I love numerology and I like a whole 9 days, whatever. Subscribe to what you want to subscribe to. So 10 years ago, my thought process, okay, let's get this plan and these strategies together. And I was like, hey, that's where I am. I am planning and strategizing about the next 5 years and the next 10 years, right? And what does that mean? What am I beholden to at this point in my life? Now today, and I saw even a year ago in the family, we couldn't decide then. I remember the weekend came. It was last 1 year ago was a year from my mother's transition. And we couldn't decide. One of us like I said, hey, let's stop on the particular day that we said goodbye. Um, there are others, they want to do the date. We still can't agree today. Today is a 2 year anniversary. But I know that at the 2 year anniversary, I wanted to be able to say I'm okay. That but then I don't know what to expect because I see my friends and I'm like, man, and I know that trauma has no time. You go right back in it. But I really wanted to mark today saying that, and I don't know that I made any promises. I'm not one. I don't barter with life and with God and with all the bless. I just don't. I'm not a deal maker in that sense. I'm going to do what I can, and every second that I'm given a chance and a choice, I'm going to make it everything that I can be. And I wanted to sit in front of me is a plant that I have tried to keep alive. I've tried to keep this plant alive that was part of a beautiful plant that we brought home from the memorial service. And I broke it down into, it was 5 plants that made this big, beautiful thing or whatever. And I have 2 left. And I need to say goodbye to this plant because green thumb it ain't my thing, and it's a hot summer, and I think these plants are like going through it just like I'm going through it, and I'm like today I'm like, do I say goodbye to the plant? I don't want to say goodbye to the plant, so I bought another pot. I'm gonna repot the plant. I forgot to get extra dirt, so instead of completing the task, I'm staying here looking at the plant and the old pot, and I got the new pot, but what I don't have is the dirt because I don't want to. I don't know what I was about to say. I don't want to. But good morning, heartache was on my mind all last night because I knew coming. I knew once I came home and went to bed, I was gonna wake up and I was gonna have to say hello to the heartache again. So, and then I went. I was like, why is it good morning, heartache? And then I realized, oh wait, that's a Billie Holiday. One thing I do not do is play music by women that might have had the same issues that Billie Holiday had so much heartache. And I'm like, okay, sister, thank you, but no, I'm not. No, I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to live in the heartache. Billie Holiday says, and I have the lyrics right here. Wish I forget you, but you're here to stay. It seems I met you when my love went away. Now every day I stop, I'm saying to you, good morning, heartache. What's new? Stop hunting me now. Can't shake you no how. Just leave me alone. I've got those Monday blues straight to Sunday blues. Good morning, heartache. Here we go again. Good morning, heartache. You're the one who knows me well. Might as well get used to you hanging around. Good morning, heartache. I'm gonna say go sit down. And I didn't read the first part of it because it said good morning, heartache. Yo, gloomy sight. I'm that person. Look, I pushed Billie Holiday and her song away because I'm not that person. Let me tell you, I am at times. That's why we do how to get out of bed. What I am going to do is see if this iPad will allow me to go ahead and switch over here and maybe check out some of the comments. If you want to make this a two-way conversation, go to the Facebook page and you will be able to see notifications out the wazoo. If you go to the Facebook page as well, let me tell you how to listen to this. First of all, it is a podcast. And I tape it live because going live gives me that push. That's my leap. That's my jump, right? Pushing that button, I know I don't like dead air, so I'm not gonna sit here and not say anything. And so if you wanna like listen and in the background do something else, listen on Periscope. Listen live on Periscope, meaning that you can open it in the Periscope window and go on back over to your other social medias and so forth, so forth. If you want to put it on a television or any other kind of smart device, you could do that on YouTube. Right now I'm live on YouTube. For those of you who, like most of us, have started using our Fire Stick and smart TVs for our social media. So you can put it there and play it while you are getting up, getting dressed. You are already out during your day. That's for my second shift people because the rest of y'all probably well into your day. And this is a daily podcast. So if I wake up with the breath of life, you get a podcast. If you want to have a two-way conversation, meet me. When you get the notification and there's no set time for this, it's like, hey, I just woke up. We ain't going to rush God, okay? But if you want to have a two-way conversation during the live taping of the podcast, you can meet me when you get your notification because you got to have your notification on. And apparently this tablet just died. But you can go over to the Facebook page and then meet me in the comments and so forth. and so on. All right. And then actually, we're on a couple of Facebook pages, my Dry Bus page. And then if you want more and you want to filter for just how to get out of bed, there is a how to get out of bed page. But I know I just said a lot, but I got one place you can go and get it all. I know I've got one place where you would go and you can find everything and decide. Wait, the decision is yours. Let me write that down. Lead, lift, decide, y'all. I am deciding not to do the heartache thing today. But you can go to dryerbuzz.com. And that's why I say it's older than the memories on Facebook. It's been around, dryerbuzz.com has been around for 17 years. But one of the reasons I'm not going to call this heartache is because when I went back, I could see, as I look at those memories on Facebook, I could see life preparing for this day, for that day, for every day. When I look and say, wait a minute, you mean to tell me 10 years ago today, 10 years ago today, I woke up saying, man, I need a plan. I got to have a plan. I got to have a strategy. The comment that I made 10 years ago today was, we don't know what's ahead. Let's get this plan and this strategy. I literally set 10 years ago coming up with a plan and a strategy that would take Dryer Buzz another 7 years, because Dryer Buzz is 17, about to be 18 years, going into 2020, right? And there are some people who are trying to rush and get ready for 2020, and to know that 10 years ago I was like, hey, this is what I want life to be at 2020. And then 5 years, saying 10 years ago, hey, listen, this is what I need. I mean, it's hindsight. They say hindsight is 2020, and in a few days we're on the countdown to 2020. Hindsight is 2020. I'm sitting here today experiencing the hindsight, and my hindsight is telling me, girl, you are so ready for 2020. There is nothing in the way for 2020. Like, and there's some things that we all are trying to hold on to. I'm just saying, there's some things that we're all trying to hold on to, and it's like, okay. So 10 years ago, I had this little post out there that said planning and strategy. From the 10 years ago, started putting this plan in place, and obviously it was a 2 year plan, because 2009, then 2000, 3 years, 2012, and then that was a 7 years, and then um, working that plan at 2012. So when I hit the 5 year mark and the 10 year plan, and the memories that are on this thing for the 5 year mark are so awesome and amazing, because what I experienced at the 5 year mark, actually Oprah was in town. Oprah came to Atlanta. She was on tour, and noticed Oprah's going back on tour. But Oprah was on tour with the I forget what it was called, but I had an opportunity to go and experience. It was a whole 2, maybe 3 day experience. But the people that I ran into, one in particular was Angela, and 5 years later from that, we launched a podcast together, because we said then, man, we have got to do something. But at that time, we were both on these trajectories of she going her way, I'm going mine. But our paths kept crossing. Like, girl, we've got to stop meeting like this. We have got to work together. And a year ago, we maybe a year ago, maybe no, not even a year ago, 2 years ago, we did some things together, and again, continuously saying we have got to work together. And here we are, 5 years from that chance meeting. Just happened to be both walking through this huge arena with other 60, 50, I don't know how many thousands of people running into each other. And then here we are again. Hey, when we say keep in touch, man, we kept in touch. Hindsight, y'all. Hindsight. Okay, so what is today? Today is the anniversary, 2nd year anniversary of my mother's passing, and that's all I'm going to say on that, and just to know that hindsight, all I can say is thank you, life, for the preparation. Thank you, life, for there was one post in there. I said, oh, one of the posts, I made a post while I was at the Oprah event, and I'm standing there. We found this. First of all, we had amazing VIP access to the event, but we were like, it's too many people around. We need to soak in this moment. I don't even not remember who I was with. I don't even remember. I remember running into somebody else I know, but I'm standing there, and we actually left. We had a suite. We were part of a group that had a suite, and we left and went and sat somewhere else where we can get this view. Basically, we can get this pictures of the stage. Right? I wanted this shot because the way the arena was, they've since redone the arena. There was a place you could go and get the shot of the stage and all of its glory, and I could see the entire audience because it was such an interactive day. One thing that they did at the Oprah event was they gave you these bracelets, and the bracelets were interactive. One, they were sending back, they were capturing all this data. They probably was monitoring your blood pressure and all kind of stuff, right? Whether or not you were excited, they probably could tell if you liked who was on stage. Oh, let that person stay on stage longer. Everybody's heartbeat or rhythm or blood pressure is going good. Oh, get that person off the stage. And then they kind of lit up and did all this stuff. So it was just a beautiful thing. And I don't know. I think I've only seen maybe one or two others. I mean, they deployed some amazing technology on that day, and there are a couple other things that I've seen utilize that. But I don't. You look for some of this stuff to become the norm. That's why I'm like, man, stuff just come and go. But over the past 10 years, we have seen so many things being tested, and I guess people just don't want to make that investment in it. But they were able to capture a lot of stuff because you could go to, once you left there and went out maybe to the exhibit area, as you went to each of the booths, they could scan. It had your data in there basically. If you wanted to sign up for this, that, and the other, you just swipe your bracelet and all your information because you keyed in. You got in these long lines, you keyed in all your data that they asked for, right? And as you went to all the exhibit booths and you got this, that, and the other, there were these different prizes. It's just very interactive, right? I don't know why we don't live with, well, we do live with that kind of technology today. It's in these phones. People are able to capture all your data. I noticed all these systems being added to different parking lots. You out there walking through the mall parking lot, and it's doing facial recognition and it's following you. Let me tell you, the pixels. You go into the mall, but you logged into Facebook. It's track, and it goes. It looked like you went here, and it looked like you went there. Hey, tell us about this place. And you look around, and you're standing right in front of the place. And you're like, how do they know that? Your phone and whatever else you might have subscribed to being implanted with the wearable technology, your earbuds, all this stuff, right? Most of us are walking around with 3 and 4 listening devices, recording, tracking devices. You have subscribed. We have subscribed to all kind of surveillance. There's stuff all in the car, everywhere, including, I mean, a lot of the stuff that you buy now, you could buy a pair of sneakers and it's got tracking stuff in it. I mean, we subscribe to these things because, and there, over the last 10 years, there was a report that came out that said that we were ripe and ready for this kind of surveillance because we love a good deal. People love a good deal and give you a good 10% off your phone bill. You be like, oh yeah, put all that stuff on there, right? How many of you get your phone and the first thing you do is go and delete like all the apps, everything, like go into permission and turn all that stuff off, and then only turn back on what you seriously need. There's an app that I love. A friend of mine has an app. Love it. I'm like, yeah, I want to get notifications. Yeah, I want to get invites. And it's like you're not gonna get anything unless you allow us to track you. 24/7. I'm like that, and I'll turn it off. I'm like, no, I don't want that. But then they'll start having a good conversation in the chat room. Oh, you can't respond unless you turn it back on. I'm like, God, I swear to you, y'all. So now I've got to decide. Do I want them like to know? I need you to know because they have a map. There's a map, and you can go and click this map, and you can see where everybody's at. But if you wanna comment, we gotta know where you are at all times. Or you gotta be cognizant, like, okay, I'm gonna go and chit chat, chit chat, chit chat, but then we go turn this off. Who has that habit? Nobody. How many of you have that habit to go in and to turn it off, or just to go on there when you get home? I have a friend. I have a relative. She leaves. She puts her phone in the trunk. She doesn't even take devices in her house. I'm like, yeah, she's paranoid like that. But she doesn't even take devices in the house. She's still one of those people. She's gonna call you. She ain't texting. She like you ain't got time to talk. You ain't got time to talk. But we gonna talk. I'm like, girl, where's your phone? In the car. It's in the car. It's in the trunk. You know, it's like I'm like, okay, well, did you park the car down the street? Did you walk a mile? Because otherwise, it knows that you've arrived home. And I guarantee you, if you wanted that deal, how many of you wanted that deal on your insurance? So you agreed to wear the you turn on your heart device or wear the wearable technology that manages every single thing that you are doing. I'm like, I joined a walking group. It was a walking group. A friend of mine is and I say friend. When I say friend, y'all, I mean through social media. She started a walking group, and so one of the accountability, she wanted to become everybody's accountability partner. If you wanna get some exercise, she's gonna be the accountability partner. She's gonna text us all these memes all day, and you have to screenshot your apps, your activity apps, and share those to the group. I ain't got nothing to share. Let me tell you, because I opened up this app and I'm like, man, everybody's taking hundreds of thousands of steps. Mine ain't even moved. I'm like, dang, what kind of life do I live? And so and I told her, I said, well, I don't have any thing tracking me. And she goes, well, yes, you do. This app on your phone. I opened the app up, and the app talk about I went up 3 flights, which should have been 15. I took 200 steps, which should have been 300,000, and I'm like, girl, this thing said I barely moved. She said, okay, well, you barely move. And my phone is in my hand 24/7. I'm like, well, did I not carry the phone that day? Yolanda, what day were you not carrying your phone? Girl, you just did not move. You did not move. That was a day. You podcast for the first 30 minutes of your day. I'm like, wait a minute. I need to get up and exercise for the first 30 minutes of my day. So now I don't care where I go, and I'm carrying this phone, right? And I was so excited when I swiped. And I'm swiping, and I saw one day that I took 3,000 steps and went up a couple of flights. I'm like, wait, what did I do that day, right? Hindsight. We need, even though life is heartbreaking, even though there is heartache. And let me tell you, I was telling you, I know I'm heartbreaking. My heart just broke again because I'm not that active. I've got to get active. So what I need to do is I need to take the phone and put it with me, get on this treadmill. All this equipment at my disposal, let me tell you. But we already know. Oh, let me go back to because I'm about to mention Iyanla. I saw a post today because apparently this was the weekend that all this stuff happened. And I saw a post. I was telling you that when we went to the Oprah event, and I don't know anything else to call it, and I hate dropping Oprah's name like that, but we went to the Oprah event. At the Oprah event, she had the lady from the Eat, Pray, Love. She had Iyanla Vanzant. She had Deepak Chopra. And a couple of other people, and they all came out and they all did these talks. They did an individual talk, then they sat down with Oprah, and I was so excited about Iyanla. Now I'm gonna tell y'all, I don't watch Iyanla on. That's some hot mess, y'all. It's some hot mess. Iyanla is such a brilliant person and has written the most amazing books. And I remember discovering Iyanla, and this is what I was reminded about in the hindsight, in the memory post. I remember discovering Iyanla as I was maybe in my 20s, where I was a young mom trying to figure this thing out. And I'm like, man, life takes your breath away. Life takes your breath away. They say that thing that doesn't kill you make you stronger. Honey, it takes pieces of you can't get back. Life takes your breath away. And I remember life was trying to suffocate me. And I found a book by another author who mentioned Iyanla. It was like these groups of women at the time, several of them, and they were publishing, and this was the onset of African American publishing. I guess somebody died, and therefore black women could go forth as always and continuously having to happen. So I discovered this. There was a bookstore, y'all. I'm gonna tell y'all, this bookstore was on the corner of Lenox, no, Peachtree and Piedmont. Peachtree and Piedmont. There was a bookstore there, way back in the day. Right now, you know what it is. I think they've even torn down what was there last week. I drove by there yesterday. It's something else. It's a whole ass tower going up. But there was a bookstore there, and I worked in the area. I think I worked in the area or some kind of way. I ended up in this bookstore, and I remember there was this big crate of books, and I'm like going through the books, and I saw a couple of books. I saw Pearl Clegg, and I remember reading. I saw a Iyanla book, and I got those books, and I took them home. And Pearl said, as women, we need to join each other at the womb. That's stuck with me because that's the one thing that women can't seem to do. I, I'm, my, I own Dryer Buzz, right? And my thought, and I never really thought of it as something for women in particular, simply because women are stubborn, okay? But I just remember, in fact, nothing that I've ever done started out for women. I'm just that woman. Um, at the time, but I let me go back and figure this out how to say this. Okay, before I started Dryer Buzz, I had spent like a decade prior to that in community organizing. Right, this is my. I think I probably let me figure this out. Let me figure this out so I can give you the hindsight. I used to do these events for men. Everything that I ever done, I always had this amazing circle of men, and so I've always had the same kind of work ethic, self-esteem, confidence. You know, it just never really. Even though as a woman, I had these moments of anxiety and depression and all those kinds of things, but there was just I just never really truly had inhibitions. Like I wish sometimes I could experience fear. In fact, there's a poem that I have out there. There's a spoken word piece that I did. I wish and it says, I said in there, I wish I could fall in the woods and somebody lift me up, but nobody's coming, right? Always have had to be resilient. Always have had to figure the things out. Now I've had some great support. I can fall, and there's some people there, but they've always been people that just won't let me fall. Like I'm like, can I just fall right here? Can I just lay here? No, girl, get up. Because you're leading. There are people following you. That kind of thing. So I always used to have these events for men until one day, a group of the men was like, I think it's time you take this conversation to women because we had gotten to the point where everything had been said and they were like, we're telling you this because we want you to go forth and tell them. Like literally, like, go tell this stuff to women. You have learned every essence of us. You understand us so well. Help us out. And I mean, on every level, the fellas were saying this. And so I remember I decided, okay, I got to figure out if I'm going to do what I'm doing, because I had all these events for men. If I'm going to do it for women, let me figure out how do I translate this to women. So I went looking for these books. And I don't know if I went looking for the books or the men said it, and then I saw the book, and I remember reading. Pearl had this book called Mad at Miles. And in the book, while it talked about, the duality of the kind of men that we have to live with, the man that is the warrior, although I still question her vision of the warrior man. And I do, and I'm a woman, and I should. Because we and women, we see men differently. But then she also talked about the man, all these other different kind of men. It was Mad at Miles. It was about men. But one line in there, in us understanding and dealing with men, and understanding who we are, we have to get to a point we can join each other at the womb. And that was something I realized when I read that. I'm like, that's what's wrong with the women. This is wrong with us women. It's like we can't even agree that in the one thing that we have in us that operates on the same frequency exact same frequency, because what comes through the wound is, let me tell you, you think the sun rises? There's no better timing of life. You want to time life, you want to know about hindsight, you can measure it by what has gone on in your womb. What comes forth through the womb comes through. Now, TMI if you want to say, but this is a conversation, ladies. What comes forth through our womb is something. It's the timing on the womb is so freaking precise. Anybody, it's so freaking. If you've experienced a cycle, if you've experienced a cycle of life, like I keep telling my daughter, it's hot as hell up here. She goes, Mom, it's not hot. Don't touch that thermostat no more. I'm burning up right now, y'all. It's hot. She's like, turn on your ceiling fan. Well, the air coming at me like that irritates me, but I'm hot. And I know it's 100 degrees outside, but I feel like it's 200 degrees, right? It's that's a timing of the womb thing. That's the thing going on with the womb. And Mother Nature keep playing them tricks on me like, oh girl, you done. Wait, bam. I'm like, Mother Nature, stop. Okay? It happens, right? I remember one time I was getting at my son so bad. Got a little joke. Let me tell you what he did. Story time, story time. And I don't, not TMI story time. But I was coming at him, y'all, one day. And if you raised a male child, you know about that testosterone and your estrogen. Oh my God. It is a war. And ladies, if you have not experienced it, that day is coming. I suggest you go get Jenks Morton's book called Teach Me to Love, because had I not read that book, I would not have survived. So his testosterone, my estrogen, and I'm coming at him real hard one day. I'm coming at him real hard, and all of a sudden, I guess it dawned on him that he was just simply in the way. That he was just simply the catastrophic casualty of the day. And all of a sudden, we going at it. He gives me this look. He said, "Wait a minute." He said, is this a true moment or one of those moments? Because otherwise, I don't want to, because he and I had this thing, we understood that there comes a time when in a mother and son relationship that you become male and female, right? And those things, you don't walk away from some of those moments. If you hit that wrong moment with your child parents, it could go so far wrong. I won't say left or right because y'all get that confused. It could go so far wrong that you can't come back. And that time he called it. He was like, wait a minute, have I really truly done something wrong, or are you having a moment? But the way he asked me if I was having a moment, that made me even mad, but I had to laugh. I'm like, okay, wait. And then I had to think about it. I'm like, wait a minute. Oh yeah, you're right. Let's walk away right now. It was one of those moments. It was one of those moments that escalated something that was probably very simple. To this day, I don't even remember what it was, but it was one of those moments. Hindsight. Let me tell you, you want to live long enough where you do experience the hindsight. Yes, I'm reading down the list. Yes, it's gonna be some heartache, but you need to look at the hindsight, right? Lead. Who's leading? Who's lifting? Decide. Heartbreak, hindsight, heartache, and heartbreak. I knew today was going to be, I was going to have to say good morning, heartache. But all last night, and I said, let me sleep on it because I don't want to wake up. I don't want it to be heartbreak. I want to not commemorate. I don't want to remember sitting here and getting that phone call, because all that week, and I knew it was that week because I had to make the hospice decision. For anybody that has to make the hospice decision, I had to talk to the family, say, listen, and I remember making that decision, and I had to go to my mother's sisters, and I had to say, listen, this is a decision that I have to make, and then I had to immediately make some prep of some things, and I had to go. Oh my God, it was hard, and here's where I'm at. Here's where I'm mad at Facebook, because I talked about in that, and I used that language in a couple of posts because I had other friends experiencing this thing, and I was so thankful in hindsight that I had friends that had shared and was open and honest and transparent about when they went through this. They don't know how much breadcrumbs they left for the rest of us, and I said I must also leave those breadcrumbs because all my Facebook friends, we're all this age. We're all at this point in life, right? And I said, well, I have to share it. And there are those that say, thank you for sharing. And there are those I might have put some fear in. Hey, listen, in hindsight, you're going to appreciate those moments. So in making those decisions, and then last night and the looming week that this was, I'm like, I just remember man, getting the one phone call after the next. Okay, we're at this stage, we're at this stage, we're at this stage. And I knew the goodbye, but it had already been a long goodbye. It had already been a long goodbye, and a goodbye that I was thankful for. So in hindsight, I'm so grateful that when I look at my Facebook today and I see that 10 years ago, the things that were put in place, it's like, wow. 5 years ago, um, um, 2012. And it's like, and I remember a conversation my mother and I had in 2012, and she had started to kind of figure out what it is I do. And I remember her making it a priority that I make it a priority. Making it, it's like, wait, saying to me, man, in 2012, um, she made this literally investment in me for me to go and to this conference. And I'm telling y'all, when I tell y'all, I I got my life at that conference. Okay. I'm telling you, it was getting out of Atlanta. It was going into this group of women, and it was every bit of confirmation I needed. And I would not, I just, I can't tell. And the thing about it is, let me tell you, it's not even about that conference because I don't know who the hell those people were. I don't know where they are right now. But the women that when I got there, y'all, the circle that I jumped into, that these are women on Twitter. We were all, it's like we all joined Twitter on the same day. And we all showed up, ended up at this conference. Dr. Goddess, I'm gonna shout her out because if you don't know Dr. Goddess, she's a scholarly. She and I were like the best on Twitter, and we hooked up on Twitter for our love for theater. And I'm gonna stop there. I'm not gonna name dropping any of that kind of stuff. But she just became the big sister of us all on social media. I mean, especially at a time when people were discovering Black Girl Magic, Black Twitter, and all of that. We talking before Black Girl Magic. We talking before Black Twitter. We talking about us just being a couple of Black women out here in this technology, and you already know what that looked like at the time. And she was like, "Hey, we can carve our space out here just like everybody else." And if we don't stop one day and recognize the force that that woman came through this world with, and how she said, I'll lead. And I mean, she is so much leading us. And then also, Digital Sister, oh my God, there's so many of them. Shireen Mitchell is keeping tabs on a lot of stuff, y'all. And I'm telling you, these are, when I talk about lead and lift, on that day, I just remember us standing around a tall boy table, going to lunch together, sitting, having drinks. Even though we all ended up in New York at this conference, it wasn't even about the conference. It was about us finally meeting. And I'm gonna tell you the story time. Shireen and I, let me tell you, I told this story before. In one of the sessions, in fact, Dr. Goddess had a session with Issa Rae on the panel. That's how early this thing was. Okay. Dr. Goddess was like, y'all, hey, make sure y'all come, because she was like, oh, they're gonna let a Black woman put together a panel, at this big this is the largest blogging conference ever. It was like, blogging was becoming was a thing, and and the Black Girl Magic was like being discovered, and they was like, oh, we need to find a Black woman and let her curate a panel. And Dr. Goddess went and got Issa Rae, because Issa Rae had the YouTube channel, not the HBO yet, right? Issa Rae had the Awkward Black Girl YouTube. She was like, y'all go sign, please subscribe to my YouTube. It was in the please subscribe to my YouTube stage, and people were still going, well, what the hell is YouTube? We were on Twitter, people coming over on Pal Talk, all that kind of stuff, Black Planet, all that stuff, right? So we all ended up in New York at this thing, because the universe is just that way. So we ended up there. We're sitting there. And in one session, I go in and I'm sitting on the end, so I have to kind of like turn my chair towards the panel, and I'm all into the conversation and I'm tweeting and I'm posting. And all of a sudden, and I heard somebody sit behind me, next to me, but my back is turned and I'm like engrossed in the conversation. But then I get ready to turn around and say hello, and I hear this person, they sneeze, they sniffle, they don't sound too well. And I'm like, oh, here come the germs. Serena and I laugh about. I hope we laugh about this. And lo and behold, so mind you, because we follow each other on Twitter, we both took snap pictures, right, of the panel. And I look on Twitter and I'm like, whoa, Serena. I'm like, wait a minute. And her thing was digital, and her screen name. And I'm like, and I literally text her. I'm like, wait, are you here? Lo and behold, I turn around. That's her. She's sitting next to me. Now, mind you, we'd never met. We'd never met. None of us had never met. All we knew was each other based on screen name and whatever came through on Twitter. And I'm looking at her picture and my picture. I'm like, man, we got the same picture. I literally still don't turn around. I tweet her. I'm like, girl, how do we have the same picture? And she goes, is that, she touched me. Is that you? I'm like, literally sitting right next to each other. Only way we realize we're in the same room, and this is technology. The bad part is about technology. The only way we realized we were in the same room, sitting right next to each other, is we posted the exact same picture. And lo and behold, we ended up spending that entire day, got our life, talked about life, everything, and how what we're experiencing as Black women early on in this technology, and how we're going to carve out a space in this for the diaspora and for Black women in particularly, because this was the one place we need to be able to come on here, take off our masks, have all of our discussion, have the discussions that we need to have, because unfortunately, even though the rest of the world doesn't want to see our humanity, we have to, like Pearl said, join each other at the womb and see our own and feel our own humanity. Last night before I went to bed, I went. There's this name. I told you there's a neighborhood group somebody added me to, and I think they added me to it because they know if she see it, she gonna say something. And I said something. And sometimes you have to let people know, look, you can't go around bullying the world like that. But then I woke up, let me sleep on it. Somebody woke up this morning and they said, well, you know what, why keep tabs on a few when that, because they're not the majority. And I said, you know what, you're right. I'm gonna jump out of this group. I'm gonna let them have their little hate group in the neighborhood. Y'all have at it. Have at it, because what you will do, what I know you're doing, is you're watching me. And you want to know how I get this done. Let me tell you, you trying to get in my way today, you are 10 years late. You trying to disrupt my 2020? You're a decade late. You can't get caught up. You can't catch up. You can't find a way to bring any more heartache and heartbreak, because I have lived long enough and I have seen it all. And you don't even have enough within you. I will hurt you with my words. I am a great debater. Okay, I'm just saying. It's like, people, y'all better stop. Y'all better stop. Let me tell you, I said I did not want, in hindsight, I did not want to wake up and say good morning, heartache. So I'm going to say hello, hindsight. Hello, hindsight. Thank you so much for showing me the heartache is not, it's there and it lingers, but I don't have to dwell in it. Thank you, Billie Holiday. And I don't know about y'all, but let me tell you, I can't listen to a Billie Holiday song. I can't listen to a Phyllis Hyman. Uh, let that stuff come through. Let it live, but don't live in it. Learn from it. Let me write that down. Let it live. Don't live in it. Don't live in it, y'all. I'm trying to write. What was the other one I was going to say? Learn. And we've been ending a lot of these, and we are at 48. Listen, right? We've been ending with that. Listen. I think book 2 is all about listening, because sometimes you have to get quiet. And I know I can't come on here with a dead air podcast and just listen, because there's nothing to listen to. But I am listening. I'm listening to you and on social media. People are like, well, how do you listen to social media? You get quiet and you read. You read the comments. You read what other people are saying. Go out there and acknowledge. Like I said, if we don't stop and acknowledge Dr. Goddess and Shereen Mitchell and some of those that really helped to carve with myself, that were bold enough to come into a space that really didn't want us out here. Still to this day, let me tell you, honey, there was a guy in out of Canada. He wrote this article, and there were a couple of articles, and they talked about, now Oprah. Here comes Oprah. and own with and I don't even think this should be on television, but they have this thing called Black Women Own the Conversation. When they said a revolution should not be televised. I don't know. Oprah wants some ratings, so they televise, and I'm not watching it. I can't watch it, simply because I'm watching the conversation. I may go and watch it. I may binge on it, but I turned it on, and man, it was so many hurt women in that first episode. And what I have known, what I have learned from listening, because mind you now, for 17 years, I have been not only curating but watching this conversation. I don't do a lot with women. I don't, because what was that? Let me go back. Black women don't wake up mad enough, right? They don't. For my taste, black women don't wake up mad enough. And by mad enough, you go back 3 episodes, it's going to tell you, motivated and determined. Not enough of us wake up mad enough. Like I said, we went to New York, honey, and Dr. Goddess was mad enough to say, hey, listen, there are umpteen thousand of us out here blogging that are brown. And we are spending money on this conference. We need to see ourselves on these panels. But she also had turned around and said, black women, y'all spend a lot of money. Well, how come ain't nobody asked to be on some of that stuff, right? I'm just saying, right? And lo and behold, the year that it is invested in me, that I go and spend a week up there with these brown sisters. Brown sisters was rocking that thing. And everybody was standing back looking like, man, them women is getting together. I remember when Twitter let us out of jail. See, y'all think these hashtags are cool. Let me tell you, when we first started using these hashtags, Twitter threw us in. I was in Twitter jail for 3 years. 3 full-on years. I was a ghost on Twitter. They were like, you ain't showing up in the trending topic, because they knew then what own knows now, black women own the conversation. Honey, let me tell you, when black women came on Twitter in 2008, we owned the conversation. We owned the trending topics. You can log on, and then the rest of us came, and that changed. Twitter was over there changing them algorithms so fast each and every day. Like, wait a minute, we can't be this, right? People were out there mad. Well, what's with these black women hashtags? Because y'all discriminate the hell out of every damn thing. We have to have our own hashtags. Yeah, we understand. Oh, girls rock. Oh, but then when we go, where the black and brown women? So we had to go get black girls rock. All the hashtag stuff. Listen, I'm telling you, you better drop your hashtag. I did a post one time, and man, I put all those, went out there and found all those black girl, black woman hashtags and things like that. And nobody's saying nobody else can. But let me tell you, when we started tagging our conversation, and when we started using the platform for a conversation, because Twitter to this day still don't know what it does, who it is, and how to survive. Right? They like, wait, they're out here having a conversation. Maybe Twitter is not just a status app, because Twitter started as a status app that you would use it. You take the code from Twitter and you put it elsewhere, all these other places that you would normally put a status. When like Facebook having that status, it used to basically, you'd had an app and that you put that status on your website, because there weren't no social networks. There were only a couple of them, MySpace and Black Planet. And they used to have a status. And so Twitter created an app that you would update your status instead of having to go to all these different individual communities. You go to Twitter, you take that code from Twitter, you put that on all those different places, and you'd have one place to update your status, right? So, but then people started having conversations, and it became a worldwide conversation tool. But who dominated the conversation? Black women dominated the conversation, because hey, it was like the Harriet Tubman. It was like, oh, we are free to be us. We're free to have a conversation. We're free to say any and everything that we wanted in 140 characters. Who better to say something? Who better to say, spit out what they mean, but black women? Like, we tell you right out. They were like, whoa, they are making the most of 140 characters, because it don't take that many words to say what you need to say when it's the right thing to say. So I say all that to say, what's your hindsight today? Have you stopped and looked back? Don't be afraid. And I'm going to tell you, I was so afraid to scroll my memories today. And one of the reasons why what I'm afraid of is not in my memories today, because I did not post it on today. So tomorrow I will have to, I'm going to see where I woke up on a Friday morning 2 years ago. And literally, one of the reasons, and I keep saying, man, why am I still in this neighborhood? I literally had to go a couple of miles and say goodbye and to my mom. And it was, that's all I can say. It was. But now, what is? Um, Looking back 5 years ago on the planning and the strategy, looking back 10 years ago on the planning and the strategy, looking back 50 years ago, just looking back. Looking back tells me I don't have to worry about what's ahead because of the hindsight that I have been blessed with to use as my foresight. To use as my foresight. I am not going to be sad today because I was like, "Girl, get your ish together." I really had hoped that I would be a little bit further along than I am, but because of my good girlfriends that are out here and willing to share, Dr. Goddess, I before going through my transition with my mother, I got a chance because she shared every essence of hers. So I had those breadcrumbs. And for those that are following me, I hope that I am giving you good breadcrumbs. I hope that I am giving you good hindsight to use as your foresight. It is a as Billie Holiday says, it is something you know and will forever know. You live long enough, you will know heartache. Live long enough, you will know heartbreak. But it ain't always. It ain't every day. I'm probably going to laugh. I'm probably going to have a wholehearted laugh. Can I just thank my good girlfriend Bobby Jones out there. I remember after going through this and thinking I can go and turn my live stream back on. And I was live streaming, and I don't mean to laugh at. See, I told you I was gonna inappropriate laugh. Inappropriate laughter, because coming through the transition and after trying to get back to work, Kevin Hart did something, um, and Bobby made this joke about Kevin Hart got caught cheating, and she said that his wife should put all his favorite things on the highest shelf. That gave me such a laugh till I fell out on the floor, y'all. And that's what I look for now. I look for moments to laugh. Now I know it's too soon, Bobby. I was even afraid to go to her timeline. It's too soon because Kevin Hart, y'all know, at this time is dealing with that accident that seems very strange and how they dealt with it. But something can almost take you out, but you will laugh again. I can tell you, you will laugh again. What I wanted to remember today is the things that gave my mother extreme joy. She was such a courageous woman, and she was always fighting. She was. We put one thing we put on her tombstone, and I remember us sitting trying to figure out. My daughter was like, "Okay, y'all, we got to make this decision." We had one of those fighting temptation moments, like, what's gonna go on there? And we went around. Everybody had this thing that, and I'm like, we were like, "That's too many laughs." I know mommy was like, what are they doing? What are they doing? We were trying to figure out what to put on this thing. And it's like, and we had to put all this stuff. We had to have all this stuff. And we were like, it's too many letters, too many words. What are we doing? And we settled for everything to everybody. She was like, everything. I don't know how we shortened it down. I have to go look at it. And I'm pretty sure it's going to come up in a memory, if not today. And here's the thing, because today was the day that we said goodbye, that means that my memories that are going to come up all this week are going to be as we shared that experience and the day came that we had to say the final goodbye. And I don't know that it was even the final goodbye. I don't know that you say goodbye, because for those of you who believe that I do or subscribe to what I subscribe to, and that ancestral reverence, knowing that people go on into that ancestral part of that realm, and that they get to stay with us and be with us all the time, and just be omnipresent, then I mean, it just depends on what you subscribe to, which means still again, you got to want people to be free. You got to want people to be able to experience that, and there's this vision that I have, and you got to understand that you will get beyond the heartache. Yes, those moments are gonna come, and they come sometimes at the wrong time, but they come. But you gotta let yourself feel what you feel. Feel what you feel. I tell people that all the time. It's in suppressing what we need to feel is what keeps us from getting out of bed. It's in what when we need to feel something and you looking around and you like, I can't let this happen here. I got to go find a place. I got to suppress it. Especially as a woman, we always trying to like, honey, let it out. Because you know what? Our bodies are on such a clock. And I'm still trying to 17 years of blogging. I am as confused about women today as I have always been because there's so many obvious things that we should connect on that we don't connect on. In fact, those things that we as women should connect on, we more often disconnect on, like the wound. Like, I cannot understand how it is we're at a point on this planet that women, and I mean all women, can't immediately go to the womb. Like, that's, we all got one, and many are out there implanting one. Okay, I'm just saying, all kind of stuff is happening that people are doing to have the experience that we are born with, and we won't connect on the obvious part of things, but that's life. And I don't know if I don't. I know it's called dryer buzz. That's just something I just don't have the patience on, is trying to get women to understand that we should connect, because I feel like I'm that person. I'm a keep it moving kind of person. And if we can't connect on the obvious, what's obvious between us, and that we are women, and that's the hardest place for us to connect. And I don't know what it is. Well, I know what it is. It's a construct. It's a construct here that's in several countries, not just America. It's a construct that divides us. I mean, hell, look who's, I don't want to talk, I don't want to bring Trump up, but I mean, it's just amazing that we cannot connect on a human level for the simple fact that we are women. There are so many things that we choose to divide ourselves in that it's insane, and it literally is insane. And people are looking at the other species, okay, are looking at us like they are absolutely insane. Their bond is so broken, right? Which is why we have had some of the worst atrocities on this planet, and it simply comes back to women. That's one of the reasons we launched the podcast, Leading Women Podcast, because we're trying to figure out. And it's not so much that all we need is a vehicle to see that some of us have got some good sense. Some of us, many of us, the majority of us have good sense, and the majority of us want to heal the world. Unfortunately, there are those that are the benefactors of us being divided, that they continue to show us divided, and we continue to believe that we cannot come together. But we can come together. We do it each and every day. If we woke up today, it means we saved some semblance of the world from yesterday. We just simply saved some. I just spent an hour and 3 minutes saving us from some semblance of the world. Just letting you know that it's okay that you have some heartache. Guess what? If you feel the heartache right now, that moment is over. If you're in the part where you can remember it, I'm telling y'all, there's something about remembering it. If you're remembering it, it has happened. What you gonna do? What are you gonna do? You want the pain to stop? It's going to subside. It's going to lessen, right? But because it's traumatic, you're going to when you remember, you're going to know what that felt like, because all these things in us, they work together: the heart, the mind, the soul. And as a woman, add the wound to that: heart, mind, soul, and wound. Okay, heart, mind, wound, and soul, because the soul is everlasting. Heart, mind, wound. Start saying that, ladies. Walk around like you got a wound. You are carrying the center of the universe in the center of your body. And it may not be in the center, because it just depends. You might be long torso. I don't know. Hell. Okay? I'm just saying. I'm short. And I'm equal. So mine's in the center. Okay. I don't have long legs. Right? I'm just saying. Okay. Hope you laughed. I hope you laughed. I hope you got a laugh out of it. I want to laugh today. But I'm gonna enjoy today, because I know the memories that I'm gonna have to look back on this week. I'm telling you, guys, this thing is just it's everlasting, but it's everlasting as long as you are learning from your hindsight. As long as you are learning, please. That's the please be ever learning. Please be ever learning. That's all I got. That's all I got. I gotta go and start the day, and my day is long. My day is gonna be long. Um, my day is gonna be long, tormentous. However, football does start back, guys. I did say I was gonna be in the kitchen, but we decided that we would do Thursday, not Sunday, because there's so much I have got to do today. I've got so many deadlines today, and I got to be on the ground. But in the kitchen, if you're waiting on in the kitchen with Dryer Buzz, Thursday night football, we will be in the kitchen because there's a wider audience other than those who are putting all their hopes in the Falcons. Falcons and the Vikings are kicking off today. So football, Sunday football kicks off today. I'm excited for it. I wish it was 75 degrees. Feels like it's 90. Who plays football in 90 degrees? Don't know. But apparently our Falcons, they get to go elsewhere and play. So hopefully they get to play in cooler temperatures because it's hot. Thank God we don't have to tailgate today. Who tailgates at 100 degrees? Oh my God, who does that? See, there's always something. That thing you wanna be miserable about. Honey, there's so much more to be miserable about, right? But I'm all I can think about is how thankful I am. That life is what it is. And I'm so thankful for my mother and all the hindsight, all the wisdom, you know, letting me be, encouragement, all of those things. And when I talk about courage, that's the main thing. As we approached the day that we knew was inevitable, all I can think about is the courage, the amazing 2 years. It's so many different 2 years. I can go back, the 2 years of doing this and the 2 years of doing that. And the 2 years that we spent um, um, just trying to breathe. Again, another day. Let's do this another day. Let's do this another day. Let's do it one more day. And the time that we had, the last meal that we shared. I remember cooking this huge meal and taking and sitting and eating with her and then going outside into the sunshine and just sitting and looking at each other and laughing. And we laughed and I realized, man, mommy's tired. I just remember that. You know, that's what I remember, and trying to find the strength to say, okay, this is it. All right, so here we go. Going forth with hindsight, there is heartache, but you will keep going. I can't even read my writing right now. Oh, heartache. Good morning, heartache. I said, live it, but don't live in it. That's my lesson for today. You're going to live it. Just don't live in it. Just don't live in it. All right? So let's go do what we do. I got one more favor for you guys. I'm going to ask you one more thing. Oh, I got to tell you, September 27, 927 is, dang, I need to play that. Maybe I'm playing the wrong number. I need to play that. Somebody remind me. But anyway, September the 27th is coming. We're launching the 27 Answers answer platform. We'll be back in the kitchen with Dryer Buzz. Will be back on Thursday. And the first course is How to Rock a Podcast. 27 Answers to Rock a Podcast. I shared also. I did the 27 Answers. I had to listen to it myself. I did it on YouTube. I did a 27 Answers. This one I did not write one of the books about it, but I was going back and revisiting it because it will be a course. But 27 Answers to Rock Like Oprah. And somebody asked me, because I started talking about it on the other one, about how we broke down Oprah OPRAH, ownership, philanthropy, risk, audience, and honor. Those are the 5 elements when we talk about Oprah. You can get that. It's in my timeline. I shared it from YouTube. And so go find something to laugh about, y'all. I'm telling you, don't go. I'm not about to go put on some Billie Holiday. No, I'm not going to live in it. I'm not going to live in it. And I don't know. I'm just going to go forward because apparently that plan that I had 10 years ago and reiterated 5 years ago, apparently it is here, and it's time for me to do the next 5 and the next 10. And I hope that you intend to join me on this journey. All right? Do me one more favor, and that is
Go now to dryerbuzz.com and follow at DryerBuzz on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. It's all about the buzz.